Hello everyone, it's Jade from Boho Bookworm and welcome back to my channel. I know that this video is long overdue. I just haven't had the time to sit down and discuss all the books that I've read throughout May. Even this video is going to be part one because I read that many books. For me personally, I don't often read more than, let's say, like 4 or 5 books in a month. I read a few more last month. The first book that I finished was The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I loved The Guest List by Lucy Foley, so I knew that I had to dive right on in. It's a book about this girl called Jess. She's fleeing her life and heading over to France to stay with her stepbrother, but when she gets there, he's nowhere to be seen. She kind of makes herself at home in this fancy weird place that he stays, but as time goes on, the suspicion levels rise. She realises that something quite bad might have happened to him, so she starts to investigate, and that puts her life in danger. What I found tedious about this book was the constant cliffhanger endings, just time and time again. I was just like, ugh. I mean, it's a chunky, lengthy book, and to be honest, not much happens until the very end, which made it incredibly slow burning. I understand that the book is set in Paris, but all of the French lingo kind of tossed in there just kind of got on my nerves in the end. The whole point and concept of this book is that you're wondering who Ben really is, what did Ben really do, and what the hell happened to him. It's not as fun as it sounds. It's just that constant oh, who is he? This cliffhanger ending, oh. I don't know, it was just a bit like, oh, it hurt my brain. And to be honest, the whole cryptic atmosphere around all of the characters' perspectives was just kind of annoying. Despite all of the qualms I have with the book, it was quite compulsive, and I did just keep picking it up because I wanted to know what really happened. I needed to figure it out. In the end, I found it quite dramatic or melodramatic and chaotic, but kind of frustratingly enjoyable. There were a few fun twists that I didn't see coming, which was a nice little surprise. The characters are dysfunctional, the mystery was intense, and there were a couple of, steamy-ish scenes thrown in there that, made this into an alright book. Not terrible, but not great either. I awarded it a 3 out of 5 stars, and I feel like that's bang on, It wasn't great, it wasn't terrible, it just was. So 3 out of 5 stars. Then on Audible, I listened to Love Locked Down by Beth Reekles, and this book I initially picked up because I was busy writing, I still am busy writing a rom-com book about love during lockdown, and it's just this kind of piss take on it all really, and the title was oddly similar, and so I guess this book just kind of screamed to me. I wanted to know what this author was writing about, making sure that it wasn't too similar to mine, all that kind of stuff. Look, I'm not going to say it's easy to read a book around the pandemic, which is something that was, very scarily real for us, all of us, 2 years ago when it all kicked off. The book takes place or starts right at the beginning of the pandemic where, people were just thinking that this thing would just blow over really quickly. It'll be 2 weeks and we'll go back to normal. Didn't really go that way, did it? In the book, it kind of details how all of us were in the beginning, laughing at the 2-meter distance rule and wearing masks all the time, thinking it was all a bit ridiculous. So Love Locked Down is set in this apartment complex that gets completely put in quarantine. Everyone that's in the building has to just stay in their homes because one of the tenants has tested positive for COVID-19. So now we follow all the different characters as they navigate their lives through and, their personal things that they're going through during this quarantine, during the lockdown. We follow this one couple that had this one night stand and now they're stuck together. There's a couple that are still in their honeymoon stage, blissfully unaware of, the realities that are about to happen with them, being together all the time, learning each other's flaws and all their little quirks that kind of make them slightly irritating. We all have them. I mean, I don't, but with 1 week together, can they keep up this perfect facade? It's just, it is quite funny and relatable because it's hurried, quick makeup touch-ups in the bathroom and stressing out that there's no sexy lingerie left because obviously we all have to wear this gorgeous, sexy, lacy red underwear all the time. There's also this couple that, it's kind of on the edge because something as simple as pineapple on pizza could be the last straw for them. There's another couple that are kept apart during the weekend lockdown because one of them was outside of the building when the building went into quarantine. So they suddenly realise what their relationship means to each other. And the guy that's stuck in the building makes the life-altering decision to propose to his girlfriend after the lockdown ends, and just how he goes about that. And it's just such a beautiful, beautiful story. I loved all of the characters, all of their little backstories. It was a fantastic book. What I really, really appreciated and loved about this book so much is that the pandemic is something that really hit me personally hard, being alone, being in a new country, not knowing anyone, blah, 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 blah. I did not get anxious while reading this book at all. It was just so wonderful. It's the kind of book that just puts a smile on your face and makes your heart warm. If you haven't guessed it, 5 out of 5 stars from me. Then I read How to Be Fine, what we learned from Living by the Rules of 50 Self-Help Books by Jolenta Greenberg and Kristen Meinzer, who host the podcast By the Book. I do love their podcast. I love how they dissect all these different self-help books that they spend some time living by to see what works, see what doesn't, see what is actually life-changing. You know, there's so much wit and emotion in these girls as they navigate their lives through these self-help books with the support of their husbands who feature often, and they're lovely. So their book is basically how all of these self-help books impacted their lives. As humans, we are so easily influenced by what we read and what we watch in front of us and stuff. So the great thing about this book is that Jolenta and Kristen have read all these books and have summarised them all for us, so we don't actually have to go and slog our way through 50 self-help books, some of which might be utter bollocks. Like their podcast, this book is just so easily digestible. It does tackle serious topics such as sex, eating disorders, depression. They are just like fun, sharp, witty, and say it like it is. Their imperfectness kind of makes you feel understood. It makes you realise that, you know, you're not a failure. You're doing the best you can, just like everyone else. It kind of reminds you that everyone has struggles. So no matter where you are, so I know some people will try harder than others, but that's kind of what I got from this book, and it was really thoroughly enjoyable. Another 5 out of 5 stars from me. That's part 1 of my May wrap up. I know it is so sickeningly late. I do apologise, but I promise you part 2 will come soon before the June wrap up. But I haven't read half as many books in June. I think I've only finished 1 actually, and it's already halfway through. Right, let me pack my ring light away and head to work. Talk to you later. Bye!